We are finally getting to the Go Bold book. Yep, we are going bold with Fabric Cafe. I asked you guys which was the first one you guys wanted me to start with, and you all chose gemstones. Now, I struggle with gemstones because the picture really is the quilt that I guess I would want to make with that. You know, the pretty fabrics and all of that, and I couldn't really see anything to bring to it, you know, to give it a little zhuzh. And so I sat with it, I played with it in PreQuilt, and I was able to come up with something that I think is a little different, something that most people wouldn't have tried. I just want to show you guys how powerful of a tool PreQuilt is. This is me going to the PreQuilt website and clicking on Fabric Cafe. You do not have to have a paid subscription to work with the coloring pages. It's a great way to find and work with quilt patterns and mock them up before you bring them to fruition, so you don't have to just kind of know what the quilt is going to look like in your head. So I'm scrolling down trying to find gemstones, and there it is. We click on color this quilt. And again, this is with the free subscription. So you can click on the pattern that you want to change, and then you can change the colors. So you're going to click on it and go up to solids. If you have a paid subscription, you can play in the print section. But I knew that I had the colors lavender and that green color, and I just had to play with it. I couldn't get into this pattern the way that it was for whatever reason. I could have done it in black and purple too. And I just started messing around with it, starting to see which one looked better, if where, you know, and this was the best way to do it. I just don't think that PreQuilt is utilized as much as it should be. It's free, and it's fun, and it's easy, and it allows you to see what it is before you mock it up. So I played with quite a few different variations before settling on the one that we are going to do, and I like it. I think it is bold for the Go Bold book. I think it's so appropriate. Let me know what you guys think about PreQuilt and if you guys have used it, because I'm really curious to know if other people are using it too. So what I decided to do is use two fabrics. So fabric 1 and fabric 2 are going to be in this color grunge. You guys chose these colors, and I feel good about them. And fabric 3 is going to be in this color. So when you're cutting it out, it looks very, very simple. And once you realize how it goes together even more simple. It is not a difficult quilt to do. So I'm going to grab one of these squares here, and I'm going to put, this is one of the smaller squares. You have big squares, small squares, and I'm going to put them to the side. And I'm going to draw a diagonal angle. Matter of fact, I might as well do the big one too, because the same thing is going to happen on both sides. So I'm going to draw a diagonal angle with my friction pin, if I can find it. Here we go. On both of these. So we'll go diagonal angle. And 2. Now we are going to put these right sides together, and I'm going to sew down on each side. And I'm going to chain stitch these. I'm going to chain stitch these two, just because, where's the other color? There we are. I'm not going to break the thread I'm going to show you 2 of these in a row because I want you to chain stitch this just to make it even faster. It's fun. So we're just going to put it here and we're going to sew a scant on either side. Because I have on a 1/4 inch foot, I know that if I keep this pretty much lined up here, I'm going to get a scant for the most part. So we're just going to start sewing. There we go. On either side. Now without breaking the thread, I'm just going to line it up in my machine, and my feed dogs are going to do the work for me. And that's chain stitching. I can also put the big one up there. And we can, there we go. And now let's cut them apart. Now we'll cut these apart, or if I had done, well, actually we don't need to cut these apart. I'll show you that we can just keep going. Now we'll start with the other side and we'll just go down and do the same thing without stopping. And if you got a guy like this, just flip it over. And pull it through. And 45 seconds. Now we have our chain. And this is my thread cutter, which I love because I chain piece so much. And I'm just going to twist them and twist it and pop those threads. Now this would have been lovely if it was right sides together, so we're just going to put that to the side. Deal with that in a moment. And we are going to cut these apart down the center. So try to hit center. I did not hit exactly center on that, but we're just cutting them apart. Perfect. Now comes the fun part, squaring these up. So why did I bring this here? Because it matches. Is there any other reason? There's not. This is by Guys and what is it, Dolls and Their Girls on Etsy, and I kind of love them, and it's a set, so therefore we're just going to walk them around together. I wanted to use the slotted trimmer on this, and the reason why is because these need to be pressed open. The directions call for it to be pressed open. However, the size that this is not going to work for that, so I'm going to press it to the dark side as well. I'm going to press it to, I guess they're kind of the same. Well, we'll lime green up. We're going to lime green these up, and we're going to press them. Pressing them lime green side up, all of them. So to trim these, I'm going to grab Old Faithful, which is my block lock, and I'm going to put this guy right here. So one cool thing about your block lock rulers is that you can use one ruler for multiple sizes. So we've got the seam pressed toward the lime green. So I'm going to put the lime green down here closest to my belly button, the label up there, and I'm going to lock it. It's locked there. And I'm going to check to make sure I have fabric on both sides of the measurement that I need. And we're going to cut. I have a video on a couple of different ways to trim up your half square triangle. And this one seems to be the one that I end up going to so much, just because of the convenience of the ruler. And it's the one that I started off with. And now I have a beautifully trimmed up half square triangle. Do the same thing with this little baby. Pull it down to the size, making sure that I have a little bit to trim off on both sides, top and bottom. Spinner. And do this. Grab a width of fabric strip and take off the selvage of one end. Now you can see that this is the fabric number 3, and I have the L right here closest to my belly button, and here I have the L going away from my belly button. That is going to be very important to get the look, the desired look that we're trying to do. So I'm going to start with this one here, where the L is closest to my belly button, and I'm going to sew this strip to the bottom, just like this, right sides together. This is sewn to the bottom. I am going to trim it even. Then I'm going to press it open. And I do not feel bad about using my little wood iron, because now we know where to find the man who makes the wood iron. Sawyer Creek. I think it's Sawyer Creek Lane or Sawyer Creek something. I don't know. But we're going to use this to open this up a little bit. I should have known this was a good combination because it matches, right? So now that we've got that sewn to the bottom, we're going to sew the next strip using the same strip to the left side of this guy. So we're going to go right sides together, just like this. We're going to flip it over, and now I'm going to sew down this side. Same thing, we are going to trim this even with the bottom. And open the seam up. Okay. That's going to be a hot block. So hot, so hot. And that's what it looks like, right? Cool. Now for this next one, you're going to keep your fabric number 3 up here, and we are going to sew this. Remember, we're working from the edge that we've clipped. We're going to sew this to the top of that. Sew to the top. Now we trimmed it even the same way that we did before, and we are going to open up that seam the same way we did before. It over. So now we're going to look at this block in this direction, this orientation. And the next piece that we sew on is going to be on this side, on the right hand side. Okay. I trimmed it even, and now we're going to open up these seams. Then we're going to give it a press like we did before. And we're going to see what these blocks look like. Let's check them out. So now you'll have your unit A and you'll have your unit B. Now, are mine absolutely 100% identical? Yes. Why did I go through that with you guys? Because if you use if you use 3 different fabrics, yours will look different, and this will be important. So just do your thing. If you're doing it the same way I'm doing it, you can make a bunch of identical pieces and it will not be an issue, okay? After doing all that, you are going to put them together like this, unit B, unit A, and then your big half square triangles are going to be like this, and they're going to kiss in the middle. And this is the whole quilt. It's block based, but we're going to every other this block to make a secondary design. But every single block is put together in the same way, just like this. The way that I'm going to put this together is I'm going to work this side first, and then this side. I'm going to sew there and sew there. And this looks good, so we're going to go on ahead and put right sides together. I'm going to pin this in the center. I know many people are team no pins, and I get it. However, we're going to pin today. Make sure those all stay together. And now we're going to sew down this way. We are opening up this seam again. And we are going to press it. And it looks pretty good to me. Oh, good. We got action. And that is our block. Now we just need many, many more of these. And then we will be good to go, and we'll just rotate them and see how it comes out. So I'm laying this out, and I got a little confused with what goes where because it is weird, and I have zhuzhed it and hacked it, so there's a lot of purple. But now that I see it, I can see it now that I have it laid out. And the way that I did it was I grabbed PreQuilt. I looked at it again, and I mocked it up, making sure that the 1 and the 2 fabrics are the lavender, and the number 3 fabric is the lime green here. And now I can see that there's a star here, and it makes this shape, and it makes this shape. And so now I just need to duplicate this a few times. So if I want to say it's 6, so there's 4 across here, and I think it's 6 rows down. So I'm going to sew this all together. I know that this is right. Also, another way that I remembered to put it together, because these blocks technically are all identical. So you just rotate it. You want these to come together. You're making flying geese. You're making flying geese here, and then you're just going to continue that on. So I hope that helps you look at it, because I was definitely struggling myself for a moment. Like, wait a minute, how does this go together? That's probably why I've been putting it to the sides. So this is a good one. This is from, again, the Go Bold book, and we are definitely going bold. So now it's time to do the borders, and I don't know what kind of cutting I was doing. I don't know if I was measuring stuff wrong, but I'm just going to sew all my 2.5-inch strips together and then hope for the best. So follow the directions. Sew all your strips together, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how we're going to do the tops and the bottoms. So I have the edge of this quilt. This is the short edge, not the long edge. The edge of this quilt right here. And I'm going to take my strip or a tape measure. It doesn't matter. Either way. And I am going to measure this end to end. I'm going to measure it and mark it. Marking it. Like just about right at 36. Okay. Then I'm going to cut it. Okay, so now it's been cut. Now I'm going to grab my little squares, wherever they are, wherever they may be. All right, I have my 2 little squares, and I am going to sew it onto the edge of this quilt. The strip that was measured to the end of that. We're going to take these little cornerstone guys here, and we are going to sew them right sides together on both sides of this strip that we just cut. So I've done the same thing to the bottom of this quilt, which is right here. And I'm just going to take it and I'm just going to put a little clip on this. If you're like me, maybe the top and the bottom of your quilt are not the exact same measurement. So I'm just saying we're going to do that. Now we're going to take all the rest of the strips that we've sewn end to end and sew them onto the sides. So don't worry about this top and this bottom. Just clip it up there and move on with your life. Measure your strip and sew it onto the side of this quilt. All right, now I have sewn the 2 sides to the quilt. So the border's on the 2 sides, which is perfect. Now I'm getting ready to, how did I press these? I pressed them going out. So I really should press these little guys going inward. Let me do that. I'm going to press these going inward, and then we will pin them in place. I'm going to take this and fold it in half and just give it a little finger press here Then I'm going to take that halfway mark, and because these are 4 blocks, right here is going to be the halfway part. And I will put that there and give it a pin. Then we will go over here and nest that seam and come over here and nest this guy so that we have nice, cute cornerstones. And we'll sew down, and that will be the top strip, and then we'll do the same thing with the bottom. The next time you see this quilt, it will be done. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. This was a viewer's choice, and I just gave it a little zhuzh. This one was zhuzhed with 2 fabrics that were the same exact color to give it just a different dimension. All right, thanks so much. Bye-bye.